Start halfway through the season.
I mean, I was definitely getting gray hairs going into December, to be honest with you, right? Like,
oh my God.
I mean, I'd seen obviously the takeover and stuff like that. Obviously, we were riding off the buzz and then obviously, then things started to look a little grim again.
Yeah.
Just when the honeymoon buzz of the takeover and Eddie Howe coming in and all of that started to fade, and we started to realistically see the mountain we had to climb in front of us to achieve our goal for the season, which
absolutely
we achieved.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, I mean,
no, it was a roller coaster. I mean, especially because you were away watching the FA Cup, the Cambridge match, and it's just like, oh my God, this is definitely the new manager balance is not working just yet. But thankfully, we got those additional signings, and Eddie Howe's done a great job.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, selfishly, I wish I could have been at a better performance than our performance against Cambridge for Trippier's debut. But
right.
Whatever. I mean, I honestly don't care if it meant we had to go through that embarrassment to ultimately, give into Eddie's vision and do what needed to be done and buy in. Then I'll take it. Every day, obviously.
It's so true. I mean, a lot of it was, I think he came in kind of in the mid-November time, and a lot of it was undoing what the players have been used to.
100%.
The players weren't fit enough. That took about 2 months, and you can tell when they beat that Leeds game, that Leeds away game, that was the turning point. Because that was a grind, and that Leeds team that we played was a lot different to the Leeds team that beat Brentford yesterday. Their season unraveled really quickly.
Oh yeah, they were on a free fall. No, we played a much stronger Leeds, and I think everybody knows that that's the match that really set the tone for us to achieve what we achieved.
100%.
And I mean, everyone's going to be spoiled for choice on season recaps. How could you not? I mean, at the end of the season, there's always loads of them from all the channels that we love and all the people that we love that do content and everything like that. But
exactly.
But for it to be such to be the accomplishment that it's been, and to kind of touch on the noise that Newcastle has now created for themselves or for us, right? And for all of us. It's not just going to be a bunch of Newcastle fans talking about it. I mean, everybody's talking about us, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
It's so good. It's so good. And the media can't escape us, because we're just going to be so good and so better every time, because, we're putting away like teams like Arsenal, and we're going on runs of 9 games unbeaten and that kind of thing. And, it's going to turn from like, oh, Arsenal are bottling it, or this team aren't doing so well, to look how well Newcastle are doing. So, but we bring on that, all that hate, bring all that, judgment that we get.
Bring all the hate, bring all the new fans, bring on the new season, bring on the transfer window, bring it all. I'm here for every second of it.
If anyone who's a neutral listening, please join us.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean, but like I said, we're not really here to talk about the season. We have loads of friends that are going to be talking about the season. I'll be talking about the season. You're talking about the season. We haven't stopped talking about the season. How could we not? I'm gutted that it's over. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself on the weekends now. Maybe talk to some of my friends that don't like football. Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. We've got pretty good football in San Diego with the men's and women's teams, so we can go see some games.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But no, we've got some stuff to at least satiate that appetite while we wait for the richest club in the Premier League to get started up again.
That's right. That's right. And Eddie Howe was joking about the preparation starts on the bus ride home for next season.
I love it. Yeah. So I mean, amazing season. It's great to be back. I know we fell off for a little bit. Life got in the way. The season got crazy. We're already kind of planning for next season. So if you missed us, we will be back. But until then, we're back today for one final episode of the season. And we're pretty stoked. We're going to introduce you to Kayla from Toon Army Philadelphia, or Toon Army Philly. or the Philly Mags, as they like to be called. We're really, really stoked to talk about them. We have a member in our group who was originally from them, Graham, who's kind of moved all over America now and will soon be a member of another friend group of ours, the Mile High Magpies. But
that's right.
Yeah. But until then, we're going to talk all things Philly. So without further ado, we'd like to introduce you to Kayla from Toon Army Philly. Hey, Kayla, welcome to the United States. How you doing?
So, Kayla?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
I mean, my head was hurting this morning from celebrating all day yesterday.
Pretty good. It was an early start for us all.
Very early.
You're 3 hours behind. So what time did you have to go yesterday? Was that 8?
Yeah, kickoff was 8. We got there around 7 because the bar we go to, they're pretty neutral, so they host a bunch of supporters groups, and so we knew everyone was going to be there, which actually just honestly made the atmosphere better. It was good banter. Everybody was there. It was nice seeing all the Liverpool supporters leave. Very, very sad. And then it was funny seeing all the Man City fans we hadn't seen all season do something.
They'll show up for that last game. Yeah.
I know, right? They'll show up for that was what I was saying. I was like, oh no, Man City will be here. They show up for the first game of the season and the last.
Yeah.
There's a final between, maybe. But no, well done to them. I personally am glad that Pep won. I didn't want to live in a universe where Liverpool won a quadruple, to be honest with you. All's right with the world today.
He was so funny. He was so funny. He was already had a pint in hand when I got there, and then he was just like, I'm done with these excuses. I can't do these Klopp's excuses. I was like, okay, cool. That's whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, it was pretty eventful. How was your last day? I saw some photos.
Yeah, it was good. We had a pretty good turnout. Graham came from San Diego.
Our godfather.
So that was fun. We went out drinking afterwards. So my head also hurt this morning. It was rough Monday, but all good. It was fun. Like I said, good turnout. Our bar was also full. Normally it's just us, but everybody came out, like Man City fans, Liverpool fans were there, a bunch of Tottenham fans. A Leeds fan came, so I was really excited for him.
That's cool. I mean, we'll get to all of that and what a match day looks like for you and Philly and everything. But before we do that, I mean, we already kind of talked about it before you came on. We're not really recapping the season. Bunch of our Gallowgates family is going to be doing that. All our friends that host content are going to be doing that. Me and Rich might have some type of recap session when I get back from Newcastle next week. But today's all about Philly, which I'm really excited about because I wanted to get Philly on for a while, mainly because I love Graham so much. But also it's funny. We have quite a few friends out here from Philly. So I was like, oh, well, something's going on in Philly. We got to know about it. And they have a great group because everyone tells us about it. So we're really, really pleased to be having you here. And yeah, so, I mean, I guess before we get into the Philly of it all, though, I know you're from Pennsylvania originally, but let's talk about you and how you, not only came to support the greatest club in the world, but also became a season ticket holder while still living in the States, which I'm massively jealous of, by the way.
Yeah, that's a whole story.
Let's start with how you became a fan, then we'll go into that, and then we'll get into more Philly stuff.
Okay, so right. I've been living in Philly for 11 years. I never knew anything about soccer, football. I still call it soccer over there too, because I know it kind of starts a conversation, even if it might make them a little mad, but all in good fun. So I quit a job in 2019 and I did not know what I was doing with my life. I took a 6-month contract position. It was like a study abroad program that I was recruiting for. And they sent me to England for 2 months. And I was all over different universities and was just, traveling around and the cities they're all great. But I found myself in Newcastle for a few days and I was there with my colleague from Germany and I just fell in love with it. It had some people had, Geordies are great, but some of them had a little bit of an attitude that reminded me of a Philly attitude. It's we're going to lay it to you here. We're very to the point in Philly. So I kind of respected that. I'm like, it's a Northeast town. It's like a loud and proud, like blue collar working town, like supporting a club that's not that great. So it reminded me of the Eagles immediately, because the Eagles are, not that great. But it reminded me of that same kind of like crowd immediately, like very, very passionate. And I still, at this point, I didn't even know anything about the club. I was just looking around the city and I was like, oh, these people remind me of like people from Philly. So what happened was we went to a comedy club. If you guys haven't been to Red Raw at the Stand, definitely go every Wednesday. It's
okay. I've been to the Stand. I haven't been to that night though.
Oh, you have to go. It's every Wednesday and it's like local stand-up and they're all really good. So definitely check it out. But we ended up we got there late and there were only 2 seats left right in the front. And of course, my friend's German and I'm American. And we're like, oh, we're going to get hassled. Like, this is going to be like, we're going to be the heckled people of the night. So the guy, of course, he's like, where's everybody from? And he points at us right away. And we're like, ah, here we go. So he's like giving us banter back and forth. And then he keeps pulling out these like Newcastle United jokes. And I don't know anything about it. I'm like, and he kept pointing us out. He's like, everybody here knows what we're talking about. You guys don't. I understand. So he kept like pointing the jokes at us. And it made me want to like figure it out. And I was like, oh, what is he talking about? So I kind of did a couple of Google searches and I was like, oh, Newcastle United. All right. Soccer. Fun. Don't know anything about it. And then fast forward a month after I came back, I ended up making friends with a bartender who's a Liverpool fan. So you're saying about Liverpool. A lot of my friends are actually Liverpool fans, but
everybody's friends are Liverpool fans.
I know, right? So they kind of took me under their wing a little bit. But it turns out, I'll get into this a little bit more later, but the bartender that I became good friends with, her husband is the general manager of the Bards, who we ended up going to that bar then. That was like the Newcastle bar for a little bit. It all just happened we all became friends that way. But I started going and I would go to watch Liverpool matches with her because she had nobody that would come in super early for her brunch shift. So I just started watching Liverpool matches, and then she put on a Newcastle match one day, and I was like, "Oh, wait, it's Newcastle. It's Newcastle United, like the one that I like heard some guy talking shit about." Like, I'm like, "Great." So I just started watching them kind of just randomly, and then I kept watching them, and I kept showing up every week, and one thing led to another, and I was like, okay, I actually really want to support this team. I want to learn about the sport, and I kind of just dove in, and I didn't look back because, like, when I'm passionate about something, I'm like, all right, this is like all or nothing, So I just kind of found myself watching them every week, and then I booked myself a trip to go to Newcastle to see a match for March 2020. So that never happened.
Yeah. So that just happened yesterday, right?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, if the pandemic dies down a little bit, I'm going to go. I'm going to go whenever I can. And it kind of gave me like, I don't know about you guys, but like during the pandemic, like there's nothing else to do. You're sitting at home anyway. You're like, well, I need an excuse to drink on the couch at 7 a.m. So it's perfect. It was a good reason. So I started like supporting them more and more. And one day it was last year. My parents asked me to go to a casino, and I won the exact price of a season ticket. And so I was looking up costs literally that day. I was like, okay, well, I feel like this is meant to be. Like, let's just do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I bought it.
At a time when they were really easy to come by because no one was renewing them. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
We should have bought them. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like when the stock market's low. God, it's just you got to buy.
Low, sell high, No, but that's exactly it. Like I was looking them up, and I remember I told my Liverpool friends, I'm like, I just bought a season ticket, and they're like, how did you get one? Like, you live over here and you haven't been buying them for years. I was like, I don't know. Like, I guess they don't want them because of Mike Ashley and like, Steve Bruce. I was like, I don't know. I just got lucky, I guess. So yeah. So I bought a season ticket, and I bought my ticket to the first match, my plane ticket not knowing what match it was going to be, and it was the Tottenham game.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, so it was right after
the Tottenham game, like this year. Yeah,
yeah,
obviously,
this year.
It had to have been this year.
Yeah. So my first match was right after the takeover happened.
Wow. Wow. So you were there. That was the same match John was at, wasn't it, Rich?
That's right. Yeah.
John from Oklahoma. We interviewed him too. He was over there for that one.
Big show.
Oh, that's awesome. We should have hung out.
I know. Next time. We all will.
Yeah.
All right. So you know, nearly 2 years later, you got to a game.
Yeah. I was trying.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, no one could get over there, right? And you know, we didn't know what that was going to look like. So, well, that's awesome. So then, I mean, I guess like, I wonder if you're the first American to buy a season ticket before ever going to a game, specifically for Newcastle United.
Probably.
Who knows?
We'll have to find out and see if you're the stat holder for that one, because I mean, you definitely get cool points from me and Rich.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
That's awesome. So what were your thoughts? I mean, that is crazy. I won't lie, that's a bit crazy, right? Like, and I mean, you know, we're Newcastle fans, we know crazy. But it's like you fell in love with this club in the middle of, you know, like when you can't see them, right? On a weird whim because you were out there. And then you win this money, you buy a season ticket before you've even gone to a game. I guess before we talk about how, because I mean, obviously, like we personally know what that's like, and we'll get to that. But what was going through your mind like before having experienced the game, now being a season ticket holder, like getting ready to at least, you know, getting ready to experience that? Because I think that's a weird, for lack of better words, that's a weird approach to it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh no, for sure. No, I mean, I've been to a lot of Eagles games, and I kind of know what I'm getting myself into with like the depression of it all. So I was like, very prepared for what was about to happen, and I knew fully well I was like, we might get relegated this season. Like, I bought the ticket and I didn't get to go till October, and at that point, you know, we still didn't win any games and we had like no points. And I was like, all right, well, this could be a total bummer of a season, but I'm just going to do it. And something told me like, do it now, do it now. And I'm so glad I did it when I got that gut feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought I was going to go there. And I mean, we did get beat by Tottenham really bad, but
yeah,
I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Like, quite frankly, I had no clue. I was like, I'm just going to go over there and figure it out.
I mean, first off, I love that approach. I have a very similar approach to a lot of things. I think Rich would agree. You know, we're very much like, let's do it ourselves kind of people. And, you know, and love to experience things. So, I mean, you're definitely among like-minded crazy, which obviously, because now we support the same club too. But so then, I mean, you kind of had an idea what to expect. And of course, that was such a historical game for us. So, like, I mean, one would argue like it, you know, it really lined up perfectly, didn't it? You know, even though you had to wait and stuff. So then what was it like? Because like like everyone knows how I ended up there, and everyone knows how Rich ended up there. I mean, he was born into it, and I went over for uni. It's like, did you know people out there when you got out there, or you booked an Airbnb or a hotel, you had your ticket, and you were just going to the game?
Yep, the latter.
Amazing.
I was like, I will figure it out. And I got really lucky. So I have a friend down in Cornwall. So she ended up coming, literally she booked a train. It was like a 9-hour train to come for the day and then leave the next morning. So she came with me to the match. And I got her a ticket right next to me, which is also crazy because I booked it at the time that I did. But I was there for like 4 days before the match, and I was just there by myself. And so I didn't know anybody. And the morning before the game, I was just walking through, like, it was the morning. I was like, all right, let me grab some breakfast. Let me grab some beer. Cause you know, that's what you do. You're on vacation. It's England. It's 9 a.m. And I sat down at
Thursday.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, whatever day of the week, you know, it doesn't matter. I sat down at Three Bulls Pub. There's not a lot of bar seats at any bar there, but I peeked in and I saw that there was one bar seat open, and I was like, oh, perfect. That's great. That's all I want to do. And sat down, got a full English breakfast and a cask ale. And I was like, I'm totally in my element right now. So I made friends with these two guys that were sitting next to me. They were like taking bets on whether I was Northern Irish or whether I was American. And whoever lost had to buy me a drink. So I was like, oh, perfect. This is great. And we ended up like hitting it off. They're both in their late 50s. They're both named Tony. And they became like my best
Tonys.
There. The Tonys. I make
Tonys.
a lot of dumb like Tony Award jokes. It's stupid. But but yeah, so I made friends with them and they were like, oh, like next time you're here, like come here. We didn't exchange numbers or anything. Like they were just like, come here. We're always here. Every Saturday and Sunday we're here. And I'm like, okay, great. And I ended up coming back the next month for a match. And I walked in and they're there and they were like, we did not think you were coming back. We thought like never in a million years is this girl coming back to this bar. And I was like, oh, I gave you my word. I told you I was going to be here. So from that point on, like I made friends with them. And now like I go to that pub before the matches and like everybody knows I'm like the token American girl that comes in from Philly. And
brilliant.
Yeah.
I love that.
How many games have you been to see?
I've been to 8.
Wow. Damn, that is commitment.
I know. So how many times have you flown over? Because I know you doubled up a couple games.
Yeah. So I think I went over, it's either 5 or 6 times. I can't remember. Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, it's a little closer for you, and I'm even more jealous now. But that's amazing. I mean, all right. So we'll talk about these 8 games. And I mean, we won't go specifically into all of them, but like, let's start with your first game because I mean, that obviously I'll never forget my first game. It was so memorable to me. I think most people would agree. You just never do forget your first one. So tell us what that was like. I mean, obviously, like I said, it was a historic day. Everything was out in full force. Like we could hear St. James Park in California. Like, you know, so tell us what that was like for you being like, this was your first experience. Like, you know?
Yeah, no, I picked the right game for sure. I was there with my friend. I hadn't seen her for 2 years, so it was great going with her too. We went to the Strawberry. So we had like we did the classic experience. Made friends with a bunch of Geordies. We were drinking brown ales. We were like, we're really going in. We're really leaning into this. So we did that. I did some kind of interview with her on the stairs. I still have yet to find it. I think it's because I said too much profanity about Harry Kane. But somebody has to. So, and no, it was honestly
Philly would, you know,
exactly. So it was, I don't know, it was just amazing. Like I remember walking into the stand and like we were so lost. We could not find our way for the life because like I'm in Lisa's stand. So it was like all the way in the back and we could not figure out where we're going. But everybody was so nice. Everybody was so excited that like we're there. Like she came from Cornwall, 9 hours on a train. I flew over. Like everybody was stoked that we're there. And I think it was now I can't remember. I think it might have been Callum Wilson who scored the first goal. And it was like a few minutes into the game. And like that feeling was unlike no other. Like we were going absolutely wild. Back it up a bit when they're playing Local Hero. I definitely cried a little bit. I was like, I'm grabbing her and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is something I've always wanted to do, like for the past couple of years. But I was so excited. It was like so magical. And even though we lost, like everybody was in good spirits because everybody's like excited about the takeover and just like what's going to happen next. Like it was Bruce's last game. So got to wave him goodbye. And
oh, thank God.
See you, mate.
But it was an amazing experience. Like I can't really put it into words. Like I feel like, I mean, you guys know, but it's just an amazing atmosphere, like the war flags and everything, like just seeing everybody so passionate about it and not just watching it from my living room for once. It was great. Wonderful.
Oh,
I can't relate to being there. I mean, I got 2 games in this season as well, but I can't relate to being there like right after the takeover. But other than that clap right after the first goal, I remember the intoxicating feel as St. James exploded. You know, all of that. Like I'll never forget that day. And I can totally relate to that. And I mean, but then on the flip side of that, I also can't, you know, because you know, I fell in love in the Mike Ashley era of all times, right? You know, it's like everybody else is going to be getting a much better version. You know, it's like I feel like most people I know have either remember the better days and they hold on to those, or like now we're getting closer to like fans are like, oh, there's something to hold on to. Where I'm like, yeah, like there's some shit too, you know. But I mean, it doesn't matter, you know. It's like it's great. I mean, that's awesome. I remember seeing you and me are in some Twitter chat for US fans, and I remember seeing you'd posted that photo at the game, and I think you're with your friend in it. And I just remember like you had blonde hair then. That was like the first time I'd seen a picture or you seen what you looked like. I think I'd talked to you on Twitter before, but and then I remember being jealous, but also like super stoked for you at the same time because I'm always stoked when anybody makes the pilgrimage, you know. So that's really, really cool. So I mean, you already had the bug, but then I'm guessing it hit a little different after that game, right?
Oh yeah, I booked a flight while I was still there for the next.
Totally.
All right, I'm coming back.
Yeah, that's like all my PTO this year has gone to going to England. Yeah, going to Newcastle, not even England, in Newcastle, right? Like, I get that.
Do you have a cool like who's next to you in the stadium? Do you have a local?
So that's the one thing. That's the one thing that's kind of weird. So when I go down, like before the game and during halftime, I'll go down and grab drinks with this like another older man named Alan, who's great. And and I'm sure he's gonna watch us too. But the people that are next to me on both sides, on my right hand side, it's like a bunch of kids and their dad, and they're only there sometimes. So I usually have room to sprawl out too, and I'm like, this is great because you know how those seats are; they're so small. And then on my left side, it's just like this one guy who's by himself, and he's very quiet. And I feel like the first time I went, he was so confused because I'm like, oh my God, like we just scored. And he's just like,
you'd be like, oh, I know.
Yeah, he's like, yeah. That's what they're supposed to do. But he's gotten used to me being there. I told him that day, I was like, I'm going to be here a lot. Just so you know, I'm like, I don't even remember his name, but I introduced myself. I was very drunk. And I was like, I'm going to be here all the time. I'll see you around. And he's like, okay. But everybody else around me is very enthusiastic and it's wonderful. But I got an interesting row. But it's great.
Love it.
I do. I love that too. Cause like, I remember for me, when I was living out there, my really good friend is a season ticket holder, and his dad's old company used to get hospitality suites a lot, and so his dad would take him up there, and he'd have that extra ticket. So he was like one of my go-tos when I was living out there. I was like, hey, you know, if you got a ticket going, I'll use yours. And so I got like, I mean, not compared to him, but like I used his seat quite a bit and got quite comfortable with the two people that sat between him, and he'd always laugh and be like, they always ask about this American guy that sits there and stuff like that. And I mean, they're both great people. One of them's named Ian, and he's a great lad. And then I do forget the name of the other guy, but like I went back, I hadn't been back in 3 years, and I sat in that seat again. And then, you know, they're both there, you know, and I was like, oh, I love this. It's like, you know, it's like family reunion, but not family. It's like, but it is family at the same time, you know? And it's just like, I love that. Like, that's definitely one of the things that I wish that I could just have, you know, and still be out here. And obviously that's not feasible, but like, that's just such a great feeling. It's like walking in to the club you love, the seat that's yours, but also like your neighbors, right? And you're all there for the same reason. I love that. That's cool. So then before we get into the Philly of it all, because we do need to talk about Philly. Obviously that was a big moment for you and a big moment for our club and our history and everything like that. What other memorable moments have you had in these 8 games that you've gotten in? What else should we talk about before we move into the Philly?
So definitely by far the coolest experience was I was there against Everton, and I saw that guy that dressed up as the T-Rex and around.
Yes.
And I saw him where he has like the hands on the hips and he like looks that way. And I was trying to get a picture so bad, but I'm glad somebody else put it on the internet. That was probably one of the best experiences ever. Just seeing
Great
that.
Game. Great game.
And a great game.
Great game, yeah.
That was probably the most memorable. I saw our first win against Burnley.
Ah,
So
Nice.
that was also really great.
We were screaming in the pub here. I think even like we had a guest and they recorded it, and it's just like us screaming, blow the whistle. And then it kind of went viral on the NUFC hashtag too, because we're losing it. Like, man, I can't imagine what it was like to be there. What was that like?
Well, I mean, I think everybody was just like on the edge of their seats. And I remember just being there like, are we going to blow this? Like, are we really like, we need this. And then when they actually did finally blow the whistle at the end, I was like, all right, I think I can breathe easy now. But I was stressing. I was really stressed out for a minute because I was like, I need to see at least one win. But it was awesome. It was a great feeling. A sigh of relief, for real.
I'm jealous of that too. I don't know if you're familiar with how bad luck I am. I haven't seen a goal in forever. Like I think I've gone back 3 times now, and I've not gotten a goal or a win. The best I've gotten was a draw against Brighton with Rafa Benitez.
That's rough.
Yeah, and then this is how I'm convinced as well, because then I go to see us play Cambridge, right? We don't even win that.
Can't catch a break.
Can't catch a break. Oh, it doesn't matter. Love the club anyways. I don't care.
It's great.
No, but that's awesome. That's great. I mean, I remember that day like it was yesterday. That was such a big win for us, and it was so close. I had the same feeling. I think we all did. Rich did. I mean, especially then, we were so deflated. Then we were so just like we need something to hold on to because this is getting hard. And I think we were all trying to either A, come to terms with the fact that we're most likely going to get relegated, or B, we were just like not seeing where the light at the end of the tunnel was for us this season. And then, and then I think that was good for us. Obviously it got a lot better, but that was good for us then. And that's cool that you got to be a part of it. Any other notable stories?
I saw Bruno's first home match where he got pulled off the bench. So that was awesome. Everybody screaming, Bruno.
Nice.
Like everybody gave a standing ovation. So like moments like that were really great. I saw it was the match that Kieran Trippier got injured. I think it was Aston Villa when he scored like the winning set piece. So that was also great. I was there for a lot of good matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're good luck. I'm bad luck. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're never going to go to the same match.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, we're never going because I'm going to ruin your streak.
Yeah.
I mean, or I could argue that like we started winning after I left, so maybe I'm really, really good luck. Not at all. No, that's really cool. And so I'm assuming you've got like a lot more friends there now and everything, and you feel a little more acclimated in the city. Do you have a spot that you stay the same, or do you switch it up? Is there a certain area of Newcastle you like staying in?
I mean, so I'll usually just stay in the center of the city, just somewhere easy. Whatever hotel or Airbnb is like the most cost effective. But yeah, there's no like certain area. I have like my pubs that I'll go to, but that's pretty much it. I work from home, so I'll go over there and like work for a few days and then just take off on the weekends and go to the match. So
nice. That's ideal.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm figuring out how you're doing it.
Yeah. I try not to take PTO.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I don't have that luxury. I mean, I could work over there, but I don't want to. I just want to play football and be with my friends.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I mean, and then I'm assuming you're going to continue. Are you going to continue with your season ticket as well?
Yeah. So I just renewed it because I was thinking about it and I was like, you know, I know it's a lot of traveling. It's definitely a cost of money, but I definitely wanted to keep going, especially after I think we're going to have a really good summer transfer window. And I think this season's going to be awesome. So definitely wanted to keep that going. And yeah, so I'm going again.
Awesome. And we'll talk about kind of what we're looking at for the rest of the season in a minute. But before we get to that, one, I'm glad that you're doing that. We're definitely going to meet up for a match. I already know it. But let's talk about Philly. Good old Philly. So I didn't know much about, I mean, obviously I knew about Philly, but I didn't know much about Toon Army Philly really until I moved to San Diego and met up with Graham. Because me and him moved to San Diego within like I think, a week of each other. And we were like, don't know anybody. We saw that there was a Toon Army San Diego that might meet at this one random pub in Ocean Beach. And I showed up, I messaged that Twitter account, and it's actually Simon who runs the Toon Army group with us. But he's like, yeah, we don't have a lot of people, but we'll be there. And I was like, okay. And I showed up, and Graham was the only other person there. And the same thing had happened to him. He messaged that Twitter account. They're like, not a lot of people show up, but you're welcome to show up. And he was like, well, maybe I'll make a friend, right? And then we both went there, and he got stuck with me.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
And I got, and I was really happy because, I absolutely love the lad. But yeah, so that's kind of, and then he told me all about Philly and how he'd been going to matches. And I remember being really, really jealous because we didn't really have that in LA then. They have a group now, but and just really envious and being like, I want that here. And he's like, well, that's why I'm here. And then we just been hanging out since. So tell us about that. I know that you guys have been together for a while now, and you have about 20 members, right? And you meet up at Kavanaugh's head house, right?
Yeah.
For match days.
Yep.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Toon Army Philly. You've been around now, what was it, 10 years?
2012? Yeah, 2012, October 2012. Yeah. And I'll start off by saying I apologize in advance to anybody who's watching this that has been in the group longer than I have, because I've only been a supporter for, not as long. So some of these are just from notes that people have told me, and it's actually really exciting hearing all the stories of like the origin of the group. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I found it sooner, because you guys had so many great experiences. So
that's why we do this. We love hearing about it. We love hearing all your guys' stories and uniting the United States fan base in the best way we can. So we're all for it.
Yeah. So let's see. So they started in 2012, and I remember, so they used to meet at, I think they met at Fado for one match, which was Man U, a terrible loss because, that's what we expected. So then they ended up kind of going sporadically to different bars, and found themselves at Tiernan Nog for a while, which is just another Irish pub in the city. And they met a guy, Andy DeDuca, who was of the Toon Army Dallas group, who actually passed away a little bit earlier this year.
Yeah, we heard about that. Yeah. Rest in peace.
Yeah. And so they had met with him, became really good friends with him. I guess he brought a bunch of jerseys to anybody who wanted to wear them at the bar, whether or not they supported Newcastle. So he was like handing out jerseys. They got a little group together. Eventually they moved it over to another bar called the Bards, which ended up being my friend's husband that worked there and would kind of gather the group, which I didn't realize at the time. But they ended up going there. Then the Bards shut down. There's also a Geordie, they call it their Geordie ambassador, named Chris Tate, which I've never met, but we are Facebook friends. And one of these times I'll have to go because he works at the back page.
Oh, okay.
So I'll have to go one of those times. But they met up with him, and he actually helped him and Lee Marshall, helped get them to a practice, actually watch practice in Newcastle.
Oh, and wow.
Yeah, they all got to go. They met Rafa Benitez and gave him like a Toon Army Philly shirt. So like the shirt, which is so cool. I wish I could see a picture of that one. But yeah, so they went over. They went to an away game at Southampton. So there's a bunch of the group. And then that was the same week that the Eagles were playing at Wembley Stadium right after we won the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it kind of worked out for them. They all got to go like see the Eagles and then go see what they said was the worst game of their entire lives. It was I think it was like a 1-1 or a 0-0 draw or something like that. I think it was 0-0 even. Exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they got really lucky. They got to go to some cool matches. It was, when I said they went to the Wembley Stadium. That was pretty much it for a while. Like, I think the group kind of died down during the pandemic. Like, I found the group 2019, like when I first started like supporting them, and there was a pretty good group going to Kavanaugh's Head House because the bar did shut down, so they found a new bar there, and that's the only place that I ever knew them going to. So,
what's that like? What's Kavanaugh's like? Before we talk about a match day, what's that place like? Yeah.
So Kavanaugh's is super cool. We have a really great bartender, Paul, who is just always up to open the bar for the matches early.
Good lad.
When I say Kavanaugh's Head House, it's because they have a couple different locations. So if anybody's ever looking it up, it's that Head House Square location. The other ones are really cool too, but I don't think they'll open up at 10. So definitely go to that one.
Nice. Open up at 10? Oh man.
I know you guys are like, oh, that's late.
I know Rodney's opening up at 6 a.m. for us, but yeah, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, Rodney opened up one time at like 4.
Yeah, that was rough. Yeah, that was a rough morning.
Is that like part of local standards? Are you allowed to be open at? Who knows?
So allowed to be open, not allowed to serve. He didn't serve until 6 a.m. Don't get it twisted. We love you, Rodney, and you always play by the rules. Right. For anybody listening.
That's right. Back to the Kavanaughs.
Yeah. All right. So Kavanaugh's Head House. They open up at 10 a.m.
Yep. So we don't really do the 7:30 matches there. They used to sometimes, but it's in more of like a residential neighborhood, so we just don't really go there. There is a bar called Fado, which is kind of like a chain in Center City. They have a pub that'll open for the 7:30 matches, so I'm usually one of 3 people that'll show up for those matches, but I try to go anyway and support. It's usually when we're playing like Liverpool or somebody else, and that's bigger, so I'm usually outnumbered. But yeah, the
long.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Kavanaugh's is really cool. It's a nice little Irish pub. It's right when you walk in, there's like a big Newcastle brown ale sign, so you know you're at home. And then you walk up the stairs, and then they gave us like I think it was Chris Tate, so I apologize if it wasn't Chris, but I believe it was him who brought a Newcastle jersey. It's framed on the wall, signed. So there's a little Newcastle corner over there where we all hang out, watch the matches. One thing I really love about it is like the bar will get like a lot of random fans from different like fan bases. So it'll get like, all your top 4 teams, things like that. And there's one really big TV and then a couple smaller ones, and they're always putting Newcastle on the big TV. So people walk in, they'll be like, why is like Newcastle and like Everton over here, and like Arsenal's on the small one in the back,
Nice.
That's what we do. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I just I think I was telling Rich, I mean, we'd had a couple of beers on Sunday. Like they have loads of TVs at Bluefoot, but probably not enough streaming platforms to stream all of the games. And so 2 Chelsea fans, 2 Man United fans were actually turned away because they asked to put the games on. And he said, well, he's like, I've got Man City here. I've got Arsenal here. He's like, and that TV over there is for Newcastle because they turn up every week. So, and then I think, what was the other game that he had on? Was it Leeds?
He had the Leeds outside game. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I got a little emotional about that because I remember always getting booted for a long time. And now like, we never do. And it's great. So I can relate to that in a little bit.
Yeah. No, it is nice. I mean, we've kind of established like a little group there. It's not really, it is a soccer pub, but it's not, they show all sports. So it's just mainly a sports bar, but I love that they open up early for us and will have us there as like a small Newcastle group. I mean, since the pandemic started, they kind of, so Chris, who's the admin of the group, I just took over like with him. So I'm kind of adminning with him. He was the one who would put all the, event blasts out, and he would have people come. Once it started, like the pandemic, he kind of stopped for a while because Philly was really strict, like worse than like
really
restrictions than like all the other areas around us. So we didn't really know when people were going to start coming out again. So I just started going to Fado and ran into like a couple random Newcastle fans and would ask like, hey, are you going to Kavanaugh still? And like, nobody really knew what was happening. So Chris reached out to me one night and asked me if I wanted to help like revitalize the group a little bit. And I said, absolutely. Like, I'd love to have people come out again. And so we tried to like get some enthusiasm going, started eventually having more and more people coming out. And it was a great feeling. Like the second weekend, there were like 15 people that walked through the door, including some people that had like never even like known that there was a group in Philly. So that made me really excited. So people are starting to come out again, which is great.
That's good. I mean, yeah, I know the pandemic really, I mean, it's kind of the recurring theme that we've heard from a lot of the groups that we've talked to is that really kind of derailed stuff. And it's great that, I mean, like the takeovers really kind of put a buzz in obviously our performance, the fact that we're staying up. Who Owns Us is now bringing in new members as well that are going to support us. And I mean, I really, really think, you know, I mean, obviously you can't know the future, but I would even be inclined to say, I know, like we're going to see massive increase in numbers and not just our respective groups, but all over the country going forward. It's just kind of inevitable now, which I'm excited about, to be honest. Like I mean, it's the main reason I love doing this is I just love people that live over here that understand my madness. Right. And stuff. And I think that's why so many people at Newcastle like hearing about us because we live out here and we get their madness. Right. And, but yeah, it's definitely going to change, but it's good that you're back on the up and up. Yeah. I noticed that there was like a kind of switch in who was managing things and then obviously that's how we ended up with having you on the show and everything. And this has been great because I've been wanting to kind of sit down with you and chat anyways. So you guys don't do the 7:30s. You'll do the 7:30s elsewhere. I get that. And you said 15 people coming back nowadays. That's pretty cool. So we all like, I mean, it's very rare that we have like a football pub. I mean, we have one in San Diego that they only host Man United and Chelsea. And so like ours, it's funny, like you say that about it being a sports bar. It's like ours isn't even a sports bar. It's really, really weird. It's like, it is, but it isn't. Like
no.
In the mornings, every weekend, it's like everyone in San Diego knows Bluefoot Bar is the football bar. Like, you know, it's where where a bunch of neutrals go. It's full of just soccer mad people from 6 a.m. till about noon. Right. And then like a couple of times I've gone at night and I know Rich has too. And it's not like, it's like this divey, like bar. I mean, it used to be a gay bar back in the 80s and it still got kind of that design. Yeah. It used to be a gay bar. It's not anymore. And now it's just like a dive bar in North Park. But like, I don't know if you've ever walked into maybe like a place that you used to live and then you walk into it and somebody else lives there now and you're like, this is my home, but it's not my home anymore. Like I won't go to Bluefoot at night anymore. Like I went twice and I'm like, this is weird. I don't know the bartender and everybody here looks like they want to hurt me and I don't understand what's going on. You know, and I'm like, this is my bar, you know, like this is my home.
Just about to say that, like the Euros, especially, or even like Sunday, like yesterday, were exactly the same atmosphere. Like everyone knows each other. The bartender plays different music, and it's free flowing. And you know, you go at nighttime and that you bring some pepper spray. just like watch where you're walking on the way home. Make sure you
no, Bluefoot's good all the time. Always go there. Everybody give them your money. We love them more than anyone.
Rodney's listening. There we go.
I know. I got to worry about our endorsements now.
I'll go there at night sometime.
Yeah, you might dig it. Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to come out for at least a match. I mean, I know you're always going to Newcastle, but you definitely should come this way at some point. You've got loads of family out here now.
Never been to San Diego actually, so.
We'll put it on the list. We'd love to host you. We've hosted quite a few this year, and it's been fantastic. Graham's been our only Philly person. No, he had a friend. I thought he had a friend from Philly. No, he's been our only Philly person so far. But that'll change. And I'm sure, you know, me and Rich want to get out there at some point. I've wanted to go to Philly for a long time anyways. And now it just kind of makes more sense. So your group, like, is it mostly Americans? Are there expats in there as well? Proper Geordies? Like what's that look like demographic wise?
So right now, it's all Americans. There were a core group of Geordies for a while, like Graham lived there. And there were a few other guys, and I cannot remember their names. It was before I started going.
Right.
There was a core group. I'm doing my best with trying to remember the history here. But yeah, there was a core group. It was like 3 or 4. So there was a decent grouping that kind of would come every week. I think they all moved away to different cities in the States, or like one moved back to Newcastle. But now it's all Americans that have just fallen in love with the team from various reasons.
That's awesome. I love that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, like I really want to get out there and meet everybody. And everybody says Philly is just an amazing city.
Yeah.
I mean, mainly people from Philly say that, but
Yeah. That's really
great things. So then, I mean, I know you're aware of the Toon Army meetup that we're going to eventually have. Are you planning on going to that, or is any of the group planning on going to that? I know we're still working out a date.
Yeah.
It's on Baltimore. It's not on us. San Diego might have the next one.
We'll nudge them.
I actually don't know about that. So.
Oh, okay. Well, great. I mean, then maybe there are listeners who don't know about it either. So in America, we have a meetup every year where the Toon Army groups all get together. Basically the location is decided by vote. We usually put people forward and then kind of we have like a group chat, which if you're not in, who was running you guys prior might be in it. I can put you in it. And then before the pandemic, before I even got involved in Twitter or anything and knew about all of this, they had already done a vote for the year 2020. It was going to be in Baltimore. And then obviously that keeps getting delayed. And they are trying to plan on doing this they are planning on doing this by the end of this year. And then I think it's going to come West Coast after that. And that I think likely will be San Diego, which I hope so, because I already have a million ideas for how I'm going to make it the best weekend ever. But like I feel bad for the whole group because they're like, Shade's probably already planned it all out. But yeah, so that's the plan. We're eventually going to do that. We'll all meet up in Baltimore and they'll host us. And, ideally we'd want it to be for a game. I think, we don't know what's going on with this US preseason tour right now. So that might be worked into it, maybe being one of those things where instead of doing that, we go there. We don't know. We'll basically kind of wait on what's going on with this tour. I really hope that the tour still happens. I'm planning on going to, if not all, as many as I can. I reckon it'll be around 5, but that's kind of the plan going forward, is like a yearly meetup in each different location. And I'm hoping that just expands as the Newcastle brand does. Right.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll definitely make sure that you're put in the know on that. And anyone listening, if you manage a group and you are unaware of this, feel free to reach out to me or Rich. We will make sure that you're aware of it and make sure that you get a vote and make sure that you know all about it and stuff like that. Because that's really ultimately what this podcast is about, is learning about the different groups, but uniting us all as well.
That's right.
So feel free to reach out. But I know we've got a hard stop today, so I don't want to deviate too much. So we've learned a little bit about you and a little bit about Philly. What do you like now that you're kind of helping out with Philly? I don't want to say you're running it because I don't know how you guys run and operate things, but what are your kind of, before we talk about the next season and hopes for that, like do you have any kind of things that you want to say about maybe what you envision for Philly going forward or what you'd like to see or anything like that?
Yeah. So Chris and I are going to be adminning moving forward, and hopefully just getting a bunch of enthusiasm going and getting more and more people. Cause like we started getting more people to come out probably around February. It was like late February. So it's all recent that we started having people again. So hopefully just keeping the momentum going, getting more and more people that learn about like the Philly group. Even just like a week and a half ago, there was a guy from Minneapolis that was working in town for the match against Arsenal. And a couple of us met up at Fado in Center City just to have, a few people there. He'd also mentioned that there are some new fans starting to pop up in Minneapolis. We haven't gotten them in Philly yet, but
it's good.
Very quick that this has been happening. But yeah, I'd love to have more people from like other groups. If you're in Philly, come to Cavs on a Saturday or a Sunday. If it's a weekday match, probably Fado, just because it's easier for everybody to get to. But yeah, I'm hoping that it can grow. I'm hoping that more people start, supporting Newcastle in the Philly area, and we can all grab a pint together.
I love that. I mean,
that's what it's about.
That's what it's about. That's why we do what we do out here in San Diego. Like, I mean, part of it's very selfish. I just didn't want to keep watching matches alone, but we've definitely seen an uptick too in not only just like people in San Diego getting in, like wanting to support Newcastle, but just like people from all over California, like making the pilgrimage down to San Diego just to be a part of a group that's supporting the team. Yeah. And that's been amazing. Like, yeah, I mean, because there are like, you do have these outlier towns in Southern and especially Southern California. I mean, everywhere, but in Southern California, there's outlier towns where, yeah, maybe you only do get 1 or 2 Newcastle fans. And so like, just for the last day, like, I think our friend Bryant, he lives maybe about an hour and a half away. And he drove all the way down just to watch the match with us. And like a couple weeks ago, LA surprised us and came down and just watched the match with us. And so we love that. And we love that LA is growing and being a little more involved. And we just love seeing it across the country. Really. It's, I mean, for me, and I know Rich can relate too, because I found him in a pub watching the match alone.
Seems to be a theme amongst us.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, I used to always say it was like this kind of like elite club that you either get it or you don't. And it's like, if you get it, you're automatically friends, and
oh, yeah, for sure.
And that's what I love about it the most, is mainly because I feel like Geordies just have the best personalities in the world. I just think they're the most generous and passionate and proud people. And I think that bleeds into the fan base and bleeds into, not just people that live in Newcastle, but like, if you're a Newcastle fan, you understand that. And so it's like, I already know that, 10 times out of 10, if I meet a Newcastle fan out here, that like, I'm going to find I'm going to like them, right. Just based off football, but I know that they're going to be a decent person as well. And I think that stands true with everyone that's come to visit us and everyone that we've featured on the show so far. And I think that that's a real beautiful thing, because I really don't think that every club has that.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the supporters groups, shout out to Portland and Baltimore as well. They kind of relate to that blue collar as well as you did, Kayla, that kind of like that hardness, the hard work and ethic that we all have. And we just want to enjoy our football the weekend,
Yeah.
That's it.
Even if it's at 4:30 in the morning.
Who cares? Who cares?
I don't know how you do it.
Who cares?
Don't have a choice.
We put it at 6 a.m. sometimes, or 7 a.m., whatever the time is, we'll do it.
Yeah. All I know is like, everyone knows if I don't want to hang out on a Friday or a Saturday night, it's probably because Newcastle are playing in the morning. So let's talk a little bit about, before we wrap up, what do you, that's great about Philly and about USA and everything, but what are your hopes for the summer for Newcastle? What are your realistic expectations? What are your unrealistic ones? Anything really? Like, I feel like we've been in uncharted territory since October, but now I really feel like we're going to go into the deep end on some of the things that we're capable of doing and the targets we're capable of acquiring. And really, I feel like we're in a territory that not many people can kind of guess, right? Like, what's going to happen with this Newcastle project? So what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I think this summer is going to be wild. I don't know what to expect. I think we're going to make a lot of good signings. I saw some report out there about how I can't even remember what player they were talking about. I don't even know if it was rumor or not, but it pretty much said like Newcastle was only going to bid a certain amount. Like they wanted to put forth like a hard stop on like selling or on like bidding prices, just so that way people aren't trying to like take advantage of us. So I think if we have that kind of strategy, I think we'll be golden. Because I know we probably lost out on some players because we weren't going to play like, Jesse Lingard's fee if we stayed up and things like that. So as long as we stay firm and we don't like let other clubs like push us around with like asking prices, I think we'll be good. I'm excited to see who we sign. I don't want to get my hopes up for anybody. I really wanted Sven Botman. Hopefully we can figure something out with some good players in the summer. But I don't know. I'm keeping myself on my toes. Not going to listen to all the rumors. I'll just figure it out as it comes. And I hope to see ideally I want us to finish as high up as possible, but like, I think a reasonable goal is like 8th, 9th, somewhere around there. I think we could do top half. I don't want to be overly optimistic, but I think we can get up there a little bit.
No, I think that, those are great assessments, and Rich and I have had similar ones. I think that, I think going on what you're talking about with in terms of like cost of players, I think that we set a good precedent in December. I think that we set the precedent that we're going to spend money when we think we need to, but we're also going to do it really smart. Like just even looking at the Trippier deal, like, I know it turns out we paid a lot more now that we've stayed up, but like that was smart business. Worst case scenario, we got Trippier for 15.
Yeah.
And we go down and he stays because that was in his contract, right? Yeah. But now we give another, 20 to Atletico? I think that's smart business. I think that Trippier is well worth that. And I think that we were smart in being like, no, Man United, like, you know what? We'll have Jesse Lingard for free if you don't want to give him to us now. And we probably will, unless he goes to Italy. Sure. And that's okay. But I'm just saying, like, even if we don't end up with him, I think we can do better. I would want him, but I think we can do better this summer as well. So it's not a loss for me. I think that setting that precedent costs more, especially now that we're safe. Mm-hmm. So I definitely agree with you there. I think that we have to hold firm on that. But I also think that now the market's going to know we're not as desperate, right? Like, they know we want to spend money and they know we want to build a team out and stuff like that. But they know that they've got nothing to hold over us because we can survive with nothing. I'm sorry, 90 mil. But, we can survive and stay up and still hold true to our values, right? And I think that that's really important too. I think it's really, when you see these kind of shitty owners coming into the football world and buying up clubs and what that, the reputation that leaves behind. And I think you see a lot of fans that are screaming for owners that understand football. And I think that we got really, really lucky in not only getting ones that have more money than everybody else, but that actually understand football. Because I don't know about you, but I'd be really, really concerned with the guy that owned the LA Dodgers buying my club right now. Yeah. Chelsea. But man, I'm just choosing violence today, aren't I?
You are.
Because the season's done, man. But no, I totally agree with that. And Rich, what are your thoughts? What are your hopes, kind of going off of what Kayla said?
I just quite like being the understated class that we've brought to this season. With Murdad and Amanda Stavely and Jamie Rubin, and even the chairman Al Ramaya. These are savvy business people. That they get deals done, even if they're not football people. They're dealing with like billions of euros, dollars, pounds, whatever currency. Their business, the PIF, is to make lots and lots of money. They've got big ambitions. So, they're not some chump who's running away from the Russian, the Kremlin, or like, sorry, Chelsea, but like, or
I'm not.
Or like the Cronkies, like trying to do the real estate game. These guys are serious investors, and they're gonna hold true, and they're gonna do it well. They will spend money on, make mistakes along the way for sure, but they're gonna build infrastructure. They're gonna invest in the youth team, the women's team, all that kind of stuff, and build a brand. And if it's through the Middle East, and obviously it's a bit controversial sometimes, then so be it. They have to build the word of Newcastle around the world to expand our global brand, like what we're doing with the fans. And our whole mission is to expand the fan base, and in America. So we have one of the largest in America. That's our goal here. So that's exactly what they're going to do. So and then with the season, they're just going to invest smart. And there'll be some people who you won't hear about. And if the report's saying, "Hey, Eddie Howe, like, what about this player?" You'll say, "Oh yeah, no comment." And then next day, back. So I just like that. I like that element of professionalism. So if they keep that, great.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with all of that. You know, I'm always excited. I'm always optimistic. I don't care. Like Newcastle chose me, and I'm gonna wear this crest till the day I die. But on the flip side of that, like it's definitely just exciting. It's more exciting than it's ever been for me, and I know for you, Kayla, as well. I mean, Rich obviously remembers better days, but I think that the sky's the limit. I think that, you know, a 8th or 9th spot is very realistic. I would even say we could challenge for 7th and get a Europa League conference spot next season. And I know that people are going to try and get me to eat my words for that, but I stand by it because we've already done the impossible this year. And I really do think that we've got the right infrastructure that's being put in place. And I think we've got the right manager for it, but I also think that we have the right culture for it as well. And it just, it really is going to be a summer to remember. No matter what happens, it's going to be a summer to remember. And I love that everyone's going to be after us.
Yeah, bring them on.
Yeah, because you know, what was it like? I spent the first 5 years back in the States supporting Newcastle with people feeling bad for me, and now everybody hates me. I love it. I love it. Well, cool, Kayla. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us. We're really, really grateful that you wanted to tell us more about Philly. We can't wait to meet all of you guys in person one day. I have a feeling that I'll probably see you at a match before I see you in Philadelphia, to be honest.
Probably.
But I'm massively okay with that. And, you know, of course, you and everyone in Philly is always welcome in San Diego. There's always a place to stay, and there's always a pint on one of us. And that goes for any Newcastle fan listening. I just want to say as well to all our listeners, because this will be the last episode of our season, of this season. We will be back next season. We'll probably do some fun stuff over the summer. But thanks for tuning in, and thanks for always supporting us. Thank you to Gallowgateshots for giving us this platform and helping us unite the United States fan base. That's what this is all about. And we look forward to next season and coming back bigger and stronger than ever. And until then, thank you so much, everybody. It's been one hell of a ride. We survived. Mission accomplished. Until next season.
All
Kayla,
right.
you got anything for us before we wrap up?
Oh, no, that's pretty much it. I think you wrapped it up perfectly. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And we'll make sure to tag Toon Army Philly in the post and everything like that. Give them a follow. If you're ever in the area, hit them up. You know, they'll show you some hospitality. They'll, you know, host you for a match, whatever. We'll make sure that all that contact's made available to everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in this season. We can't wait for the summer. We can't wait for next season. We can't wait to bring you back more content. Rich, you want to close us out? Anything else?
Nope. Away the lads.
Away the lads. All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.